All right. So today is February 13th, 2023. We're looking at EU high time frame outlook. I've got the 1 hour chart up here on my screen. We're initiating prices away. Like we saw last week, we had this sell primary. It held price. Price came in to mitigate, initiated away, very strong. And I'm looking to see, what are we creating now? Are we creating this potential liquidity grab here, where liquidity is being grabbed, and then we're going to initiate higher prices in order to initiate lower prices? Or are we just going to keep initiating away? So the thing I'm looking for here is always to trade off a sell primary, right? So here's a sell primary, beautiful mitigation. They gave us big clues here at the top here that we were going to sell, and sure enough, we did. They created this sell primary on the way down. We're short all the way, and then we've come back into it rather speedily as well. Like, so I wake up to see like how price is sort of zipping into that area. So I'm looking for continuation shorts, but I'm also looking for continuation longs because I can see that we've just taken liquidity. Where are we bouncing from? If we look on the high time frame, if you look on big one, if we look on the buy side of the high time frame, you can see we've just taken out this buy primary, literally just taken it out. And what I've noticed is it's a weak mitigation. It didn't really mitigate much. You know, if you actually look at what it mitigated on a 1 minute, 2 minute, 5 minute, 10 minute, hour, it didn't really mitigate much of anything. So I think we could be creating a buy primary, meaning a new intention has formed, right? They've taken liquidity from a buy primary. And often when they take liquidity from a buy primary, it's to initiate away. So they're either doing that and they're going to initiate away, creating a new buy primary, or they're creating cause, weak mitigation, cause, right? So cause for later, just reason to come down. Now the location is interesting because we've got a buy primary right below it. So I believe it's probably likely cause. Even if it does turn into a buy, this does turn into a buy primary. Even if that does happen, I still think we're short, and I still think this high will hold. It's just my bias. So knowing all of that, then let's go to our lower time frame and see what's going on. Let's first off start with our buys. So I can see that we've had our mitigation here at the bottom, right? Here's that mitigation yesterday, Sunday. So they mitigated, took that liquidity, and then they've initiated prices higher. So I'm always looking for the first sort of sign of a buy primary. Now this was a double liquidity grab buy primary. I don't like those. A double liquidity grab buy primary doesn't really fill me with confidence about the primary because it's an unexpected. Now what do I mean by double take? The primary should have realistically been here. Takes liquidity, breaks on itself, and breaks another piece of structure. That should have been the primary because this was where the liquidity was taken. Now, this range here that I've drawn is literally just range and breaks on itself. It doesn't break any kind of structure. And because of that, because there's no other structure break, this then does not become on its own the buy primary. Yes, it took liquidity from here, but the liquidity it took was not range initiation break of structure. Instead, we see this differently. So now we have to draw this differently. So where did liquidity start from? The high point, right? And we pull all the way down to this low point here. So this large high time frame sort of buy primary is sat in here. However, it's that double liquidity grab, right? Here's the first grab here, where they took liquidity from there. Then they came back up, breaking structure up here, but not breaking anything else. Then they came back in to take liquidity from down there, and then they initiated away. So it's a double liquidity grab. It's not typical. It's built for a reason. We'll find out what that reason is. Okay, but it's not our typical kind of a range we're expecting. Now, if we treat it like a typical range, here actually is a buy primary. I've got it colored differently as a regular buy range, but that's because it's inside of this valid buy primary. It is a valid buy primary. It's a double liquidity grab. Doesn't matter. It is valid. And so here's where I'd expect price to initiate away from. Sure enough, it does. And then we get this sort of continuation of just following. And so if I was actually trading in and around these areas, I would be looking to buy all day long from these like kind of locations here because they're absolutely ideal. So I spotted these out on the way up, right? Now remember, I'm asleep, unfortunately, so I couldn't get involved. And then I get to the screen right around here, and I'm watching this formation. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, this could be the mitigation. Why? Look on the higher time frame, right? Where have we come into? Into a big sell zone, sell primary, right? And it's touched that sell range, the range that we expect it to touch and pull down from, right? To mitigate. Now I didn't enter long, and I wrote this at the time. Why am I not entering long, right? Because I can see that this is the buy primary that's formed, and we had a sell primary. So we had this sell primary here, took liquidity, and then this was the buy primary. So let's color it differently. Which one was it? Sell primary. And so we had this slither, right? This is my entry modal, slither of price action where I should be looking to enter. And I'm not willing to enter on it because of all these reasons. Number one, the liquidity grab was not substantial. What do I mean by that? Well, the liquidity grab here is only from here. It wasn't from like a range initiation breaker structure. Also, it's the same thing on this side. So yes, we did break structure here, and this is the only place that actual liquidity gets added. But it's this side here I didn't like. So I didn't like this for that reason. Didn't tick all the boxes that I'm looking for. Also, we're inside a higher point of interest, higher time frame point of interest. We're in a sell primary. So I don't really want to be taking buys into a sell primary. And then even though price could soar, I write this, even though price could soar, and it did, and I was available here to click buy, and I saw it all, and I had my triggers going and everything. I had everything ready, right? Even though price could soar, I chose to wait. As this is guessing from here. I want to trade when everything's matching up on my rule set, right? What rules that I define need to be need to happen before I'm going to get into the marketplace. And I'm going to allow the market to soar away from me like it did here, no problem. So then I start seeing and observing, like, okay, so here's the last primary. This is where I want to be trading from. This is not a primary. Range, initiation, what? Breaks on itself. That's it. There's no structure that it took from the left, right? So this is not a primary for me. However, it is bouncing from a primary, right? So I'm kind of interested in that sort of thing. So I'm thinking, oh, well, maybe it is a primary. And then I see that here's that slither, right? That they come back into. They like to mitigate the wick, right? So here they are mitigating the wick, and this is the first buy primary that actually gets formed after this one. So we have this buy primary, then this is the next one I see. Range initiation, and then this is the range that took liquidity from there and then broke on itself and then broke other structure. So they're building from here. So I saw this, but I still wasn't interested. Didn't want to get involved. And they did it again. Another buy primary forms from here, and I'm still not willing to get involved. Why am I still not willing to get involved? I believe that this is potentially the high time frame mitigation. And I think we're actually creating something for shorts, is what I was thinking to myself. Not only that, I don't want to be taking this or this because they're coming out of this. This is not a buy primary at all. This is just a range. It doesn't tick the boxes as being a buy primary. It's not a buy primary. Okay, this is a buy primary. This is where I want to be trading off of. Okay, so I see a fake buy primary, a real buy primary, and another real buy primary, and that's when I'm starting to think to myself, oh, okay, so we might actually be initiating higher prices from here. So let's see, can they do, some trickery, right? And so what do we look for? We look for a sell primary, our entry modal, right? Let's always look for our entry modal as well, or in and around these kinds of areas. So we get this sell primary, and I'm thinking to myself, well, this could become a buy primary, but then it was just too fast and zipped away. Didn't really give me the opportunity to get in. Now it did, as I see in hindsight, it was like a 15-second return, but I just wasn't available to trade this one. Would I have? Probably not. Probably not. I'm still waiting out for this, is the honest truth. But seeing all of this and seeing all this unfold under you, it's excruciatingly slow and a little bit painful to watch because you want to be in the market, right? We're traders. We want to trade. So I see this potentially forming, and I thought to myself, well, it doesn't matter that I miss out here. I can look for another entry, right? And if there is another entry, I can get in. Here was another potential entry. And then I eventually find one that sort of worked out, looked good for me, and I enter here, right? So I eventually do get an entry, but this was after my sell. So let me go back to my sell side, and then we'll talk about the sell, and then we'll talk about the buy. Okay, so the sell, here's our sells, right? So now I'm thinking to myself, we've zipped up here. This is the mitigation, the higher time frame mitigation. Notice how it's just touched this sort of slither in here, not slither, sorry, this just touched this order block. It's up here is where it is. It's the inside last known range inside of that higher time frame sell primary. So I'm very interested in seeing what happens after that. I'm thinking to myself, oh look at this. We get the pattern, the range. Look, range initiation breaks on itself, right? And we're thinking this could be the buy primary, this could be the sell primary. Definitely ticks all the boxes, take liquidity. Can it close here? Right? That's the question. And then so we've got this entry area here. Price should be unwilling to want to be in here if this is going to be a wick. That's the thought process. Price does want to be a wick, and it breaks down immediately, right? So so immediately as soon as price is down here, trading down here, I'm drawing this mauve purpley box on here, going okay. So I know that this is a wick. So if I see anything that gives me insight to that this could actually be a wick, I want in, right? And so this is what happens. Let's go down to 15 seconds. I get a buy primary, right? We've got you could use this range alone, range initiation, break of structure. This range here took liquidity from below there, so that's a buy primary that then turns into a potential sell primary, right? And where does it go? All the way up to here. Here's this big slither, right? This is my entry modal now, and so now I'm thinking, okay, let's let price pull away. It's too large for me to enter like this, but this is what I'm thinking is the trade idea. Okay, something like this is the trade idea. So what's that? Two risk to reward, 2R, 4 pip stop, 8 pip gain. So not a trade I'm really interested in taking, but that's the trade idea, right? Because of where we are and everything. And so I'm like, okay, let's refine this. Can we see again where we get liquidity taken from the downside, right? So they create a buy primary. If this buy primary was to activate, it would need to activate by breaking structure here. Instead, what happens is this sell primary forms at the same time after a buy primary is formed. And so we've got this new slither in here. And so my thought process is exactly again, if this is going to become wick, we're going to see it become wick. And then they do this lovely little thing in here. Let's zoom in. So I'm expecting this to become wick, right? What does that mean? I want it to break down out of here. Ideally, break a structure as well. And look at this, got structure here. And then I see this. Oh, look, they've done a nice little stacking here of liquidity, right? I notice it, and I see this sort of lower time frame thing going on. Maybe I was on a 5 second even. I think more so than the 15, because I see this grab here. Yes, this didn't range initiation break strike. It didn't do any of that, but it did. But they did stack here. You see how they did a low here, and they just create cause. Boom, boom, right? So buy primary, if the buy primary is going to initiate, it's going to initiate up here or activate. And then the sell primary starts forming, right? Sell primary forms in, boom, breaks structure as well. So there we go. We've got this new slither right here. And in all honesty, that's where I could have traded from. I should have really had it like that. Yeah? 0.8 pip stop, no problem. Short the market. So what actually ended up happening was it initiated away. I kept my stop fully open on this one. I took a loss because I was not sure. I was not sure when to go break even on this one. Really, it was down here because I wanted this whole formation to close. And so because it hadn't closed down here, I left it fully open. Good job, right? I got this one. Well, here's my entry. Sorry, this was my entry. Then we got pull away, another breaker structure. They come back in, mitigate up here, and then aggressively away. So I'm thinking, well, that's good, right? This is meant to be all sort of wick. And so that's good for my trade. And it was at that time when I'm starting to think, well, or as soon as I am in this short, I'm starting to think, let's look at the longs. So let's get this up over here. So my sell side's on the right, my buy side's over here, right? And so I start thinking about the buy. Where's the buy? So let's copy it over. So I end up getting my buy over here. So I'm in a short, and yeah, I'm still hedging on this because we haven't taken out we haven't taken this one out yet. It's still playing short. It's not going aggressively how I would like it. But they're trickers, right? They like to trick us. So I was thinking to myself, well, let's see here and try and get in a buy. And then I see the same thing happen, right? The same things we've been looking at, right? This is potentially for the buy. So we make it a buy primary, boom, and then another buy primary over here, right? That took liquidity. Sell primary first, then a buy primary, entry modal. Sell primary, then a buy primary, and it was that slither. As soon as I see start initiating away from here, and I'm following intention. I'm seeing that this modal has happened once, right? And so, wow, they're going to give it to me again a second time. So I've had one, and then a second one forms. I'm entering, and so I do. I go long. I get a good stop. What is it? 1.2 pips on this one. So nice tight stop, and we initiate away. I'm expecting this to break up here. That's when I would go break even. I don't go break even at all, and I just take a loss on this one. This one comes down here, and actually, I think it was right in this moment, right here, actually took me out, and I was super fucking pissed because you know what? That shouldn't be taking me out there. My stop was actually hard stop at 6.7. It was 1.07167 was where my stop was, and I got taken out at it was one tick below 1.07170. And so when I actually sort of say it out loud, it's only 3 ticks, right? So they spreaded me 3 ticks. Super pissed because I feel like I should be able to hold into on a trade like that. But alas, it doesn't matter. And so I've got this transitional order block here, right? We initiate up to here, and I'm thinking, well, this is really good for my longs. Even with this, so I'm thinking maybe I'll look for a re-entry, but I just sit on my hands because I need to sort of see this target get taken first before anything. And this is a transitional high right here. It doesn't mitigate anything; it just mitigates something through here. So I do believe this is cause. I do believe this high is cause. I do believe all of it's cause. But that's what I've been observing. So there's my 2 trades of the day. Not very satisfying. Not very happy with them because of they didn't bank. I didn't get them in the right areas, I guess. But what I am happy about is my understanding. I'm understanding of the market. I'm understanding that we could be turning around where we're turning around. Understand. I think I got a couple of really good entries. I could have gone break even, on both of these and been quite happy. I let both of them go full risk because I do want to give my trades a chance to breathe. And I think I was getting a lot of undue stress on this short right here. So as I'm in short in here, and I'm thinking to myself, fuck, when am I going to change it to break even? And it just gave me a lot of undue stress on this one because I was thinking to myself, well, maybe I haven't like given in fully to the trade idea. Maybe I'm not committing to this. Maybe maybe there's some emotion playing in here. And I thought to myself, how can I get rid of the emotion? And I thought, well, just accept full risk. That's the best way, right? If I can accept full fucking risk and I don't mind my 1% leaving my bank account or not, whether I'm going to make 10R or lose 1R, it didn't really matter too much. It's like, yeah, I want all my trades to work out. Don't get me wrong, I want every single one of my trades to work out, but I do want to give them a chance to breathe. And I realized this is kind of an area where they might want to breathe, and I saw what was going on. So I allowed it to breathe, and I became at one and at peace with my stop. I said, no, I'm just gonna leave my stop where it is. Now I don't have to worry. Now I don't have to think about it. It's off my plate. Now I can focus cleanly on the buys, right? Because I'm in the short, so now I can focus cleanly on the buys. And as I do that, I get myself into a pretty good buy opportunity. So I think that was something that was good for me today, is just to have that experience and to just to let go of what was happening there. So yeah, I'm going to call it there on this vid. We're really sort of stuck in this sort of range. I don't honestly know what's going on at this point. I mean, we're not creating anything super that's giving me an intention to get involved. So I'm happy to sit on my hands. I'm happy with my 2 trades. I'm happy to sit on them, and we'll call it there. This one I was thinking of taking profit at a different profit target, or at least sort of taking some off this short. I was going to take it around here, 7.87. And the reason is because of this buy primary here and this last known range. And I was thinking to myself, this is a really good place to buy. This is where I'm looking for buys. So if we do get down here, I'll be looking for buys all day long. And as for shorts, I need them to create something. I believe that this is the mitigation, or it could be. Let me say it that way. It could be the mitigation. So I just need them to create something that gets me involved. They already did, and then they took me, and then they created something with a transitional high. So I'm not interested in taking this short here, right? Because this is transitional. Does that make sense? Yes, I'm in short one, number one here. This could have all been for liquidity, just to create liquidity. They do that, right? And but this is the reason I'm not getting involved. Otherwise, I would have shorted here for sure. I would have been short right here with a stop here, and rode this one down. How much is that on the old stop? Yeah, we could done one. We could done a lovely 1.5 pip. The reason I didn't take it is because it's transitional. Let's see what I mean by transitional. Transitional order block, basically a breaker block. Some people call it that. What it means is it goes through price, right? So as we're observing, we're not mitigating anything in here. There's literally nothing to mitigate there. And then as we stop, we can see here, this is actually where it mitigated. And so what is it? What is it they've mitigated? They've just mitigated like a little block here. I was like, is this a sell primary? Is this a buy primary? What is this? Did it come up over something? No, it didn't do anything. Sure enough, you could say that this is a sell primary in formation, right? And it's just mitigating something up here, the last known range. But this hasn't closed on itself. This isn't valid just yet. So not interested at all in this trade here, even though price pulled down would have given me what, 5R? Yeah, 5.5R. 5.5R potential on that trade, but not interested. What's going on right now? Boom, they seem to be pulling price back up, don't they? So this could just be a complex range. This could be just an area where they're just sitting price before they make their move, just acquiring their position. Let's just look from the buy side, see if we can see anything. Remember, what we'll be looking for. Definitely a buy primary, right? Definitely a buy primary. It's broke on itself. But we'd be looking for a liquidity grab. So is this the liquidity grab? No. Is there a liquidity grab here? Not really, right? Is it here? Is this the liquidity grab? Potentially. Range initiation. No, it didn't break structure. So this doesn't check any of the boxes right here as being a sell primary. Or a buy primary, sorry, a moment to buy. The only range we've got here is this buy primary where they took liquidity from above here. However, did we break structure? I guess you could say that was a breaking structure. It's just not giving us anything worthwhile, it's not like a tasty treat. Instead, these are just sort of scraps that we just don't want on the side of the street, that we're just like, nah, I'm good. I'll wait for the restaurant to throw out a filet mignon and I'll eat that, rather than, hey, here's some fucking old shit of a bird that's been like driven over a couple of times. We'll just eat that. No, 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 no. No, thank you. We'll wait. We'll sit on our fucking hands all day long and wait for the best opportunities rather than these sort of shitty Monday opportunities that are being presented right now. There's my trading day. Aloha, love to anybody out there. Hope you guys are crushing it, smashing it. Hope you had an amazing trading day, and I hope you are making and hitting all of your goals in life and making a crap ton of money. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace out.